Hey there, Squirrel Army! For today, obviously, we're getting into the precons and upgrading the Selesnya, Virtue, and Valor enchantments deck. So, with the face commanders, I'm not really gonna discuss them very much here because I already did a video on this pair. So, if you want to know my thoughts on this pair, what sort of strategies going on here, which of the commanders I prefer, etc. Go check out my video that I did before. Should be popping up as a little card up there, but it is a fairly recent video, so it's not too hard to find.
Alrighty, so we're having a look at the deck list here. And of course, if you guys want to find this list, you can easily find it by Google searching it up. From looking at what's in the list here, there's a bunch of auras that I don't feel like fit in what this deck's actually trying to do, which is, well, actually, like I said, the face command is not that amazing, and that it's okay, it's there, whatever. The secondary commander, as I said, that's amazing. So I'm really building with that in mind more than anything else. I think the ramp and card draw of this deck needs to switch up a little bit, and we need to focus on either really good auras or creatures that are auras, so that when our stuff does die that is enchanted with auras, at least we get those creatures that are auras on our field. So, you know, there's a couple of those creatures in here, but not a huge amount of them. We could squeeze some more in, and again, maybe they're not going to get the triggers, or they're not going to trigger our commander, or they're not going to trigger when our stuff dies because the commander's not going to be there unless it's indestructible or something or whatever. But still, like, they'll be better off than all these other bad auras. Maybe we can play Rancor and like Griff Spoon, like, 'cause those ones are okay-ish. But there's not that many great auras, except for the ones that are creatures that when the thing is equipped to or chanted to dies, they become creatures. So, yeah, I'm not really happy with some of it. There's a lot of janky kind of stuff that's in here that kind of works with enchantments and auras and stuff, and there's a bunch of other stuff that's just in here, and it's just like, it doesn't really work with the game plan. It isn't bad, but it just doesn't really add to what you're doing or give you another direction in which to win. So, like, or if they do, it's such a slow process and doesn't really apply any value to what we're kind of doing, which is kind of what you want to do. So I really want to focus the deck onto the secondary commander. There's actually a couple of, cards in here that are effectively combos with the command, or well, the sub commander. So we could basically make infinite tokens with those pretty easily. So we just need more ways to get those cards and get more consistency and get the ability to win more easily with what we've got. So that's what I'm going to do with this, and see how I go.
You can join the Squirrel Army by subscribing.
Alrighty, so finished doing the deck list upgrade for this one. It was slightly harder for me to figure this one out. Not terribly difficult, but still a little bit more difficult because auras are kind of hard to work with because, as I've said, auras is a kind of little bit bad most of the time because once something dies, there go all the auras. Yes, I know our commander makes auras, and as I said, we're not really going down the route of we are an aura deck or whatever, though it was super hard to cut all the auras because there's just so many in this deck. And honestly, unfortunately, there's not really a whole lot that you can kind of easily replace them with because this is a very enchantment focused deck and there's not enough enchantment stuff that cares about enchantments entering, which is a pretty powerful, honestly. But again, it is a thing that you don't get much of, unfortunately. So it is what it is. But anyway, we'll get into the list. Before I do, everyone who's not interested, doesn't want to see me explain all the cards and what they do and want to cut them, etc., check out the deck list down below in the comments. You can do what you will with it and move on with your lives. So, but for those people that are here, I'll go through what I cut as quickly as what we can in here. About $30. First, Ancestral Mask. Nice buff to a creature, but that's it. Like, sure, it can... Like, if you want to go down a Voltron sub-strategy of some sort, go ahead. Like, again, you could do what you want, but for me, again, the idea of this deck to draw cards and get abilities going wide seems to be what both of the commanders are kind of focused around. So just making one big thing doesn't really work out. Yeah, you can buff up your big flyer or your big evasive thing getting close to the end of the game, or buff something up to make it really, really big and really, really threatening. Sure, but again, just not really what we're doing. Signet, we're in green. We don't need this sort of thing. The Lalid, again, it gets really big, kind of, and it can't be blocked. I am kind of thinking it's okay, but again, we kind of want to go further than this. And again, it's not, again, like we're really focused on casting a lot of auras. So it's not like we're going to have that many auras a lot of the time. Yes, there are times that we are, but there are also times that we aren't. Yes, it comes with its own aura, so it's effectively a 3-3 for 3, or even a 4-4 for 3, so... but still, don't know. Coronet, the buff and the lifelink is okay, but that's it. Like, not that amazing. Ethereal, again, buffing something up's nice, but again, we can just do more. The Might, this is pretty cool one, but again, I think we can just get more, or we can just be doing more things, or have things happening that do us a favor and help us get more things going. No. The Fawn, actually, I think is okay, but the one problem I have is we don't have many ways to flicker it, return it, bounce it, blah, 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 that sort of thing. So it does one thing, and then that's kind of it. It's kind of like an Eternal Witness. So, and it is alright at doing that. The only time I think it's super good is if you have a bunch of lands in hand and can discard lands to get stuff back. So, or just chump cards that don't really do anything at the time, perhaps, which is mostly usually lands if you have them floating around and don't have anything to do with them, and you can't really play more lands or whatever. So, yeah, it doesn't have enough times where it does enough, I don't think. It's okay, but yeah. The Drover, like, I don't want to give our opponents stuff, even though this thing can block them for days. Um, Even though it draws its cards, it really doesn't have much to do with what we're doing. Yeah, it comes with an enchantment, but no. Don't see it there. The Druid, it's okay, but I think again we can do better, and I think we did do better. In fact, I think the ramp was pretty darn good anyway. So, Retether, like again, there's not not none, but there's not honestly that many auras in the deck anymore, so it doesn't do a lot. It's nice recursion, but again, it's a one-off, so just yeah. Rishkars, like, yeah, sure, we can cast something mana value 5 or less from our hand without paying for it as well. But just this one off mass card draw isn't where we want to be. And again, I don't know how big any of our things will get for the most part. Yeah, or a Gonad there could get really big if I put it back in, but I know how big things can get in this deck. But yeah. The Sage's Reverie, like again, it's kind of hit and miss. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with it. It's not terrible, but I do feel like it's a win more card when you get it. And it's good. And when you get it and it's bad, you're just kind of like going, well, now I need to wait until I have some auras until it's good, and then it's just win more. So I don't know. Not that amazing. Sylvan Range is just terrible. Just like effectively draws you a land to your hand. Not worth our time to play, really, I don't think. I'm not going to talk about lands because they're all just bad, even though I think there's only the one here or whatever. Timely Ward, it does protect our commander, which is okay, but again, our deck isn't just our commander, and if we want to save anything, we don't really care about saving our commander that much. We can just get it back and recast it, so I don't see that that's such a big issue that we want to play this. If we want to play it on other things, then it doesn't have Flash, and Flash is what makes it half decent. So otherwise, it's just not really that good. Again, the unfinished business, returning auras, just again, we don't have that many auras in the deck anymore, or even really had that many in there to begin with. And just a one off, just nah, not worth the time. The Blessing, like if it gave us a power buff or whatever, or just let us deal damage rather than fighting, then yeah, maybe. Or if it gave us indestructible or something like that, then maybe, but nah. Just a bad fight spell. Alright, go over to the things that we added into this list. It was about maybe between $50 and $60 there. Sithis, again, not that we have a ton of enchantments, but we do have some. So when we do enchantment, we'll gain a life and draw a card. We don't care about life, but we care about the card. That's pretty good. The Composter, getting a trigger from whenever a creature effectively enters the battlefield under our control. Because when we get a creature, we're going to get an aura because we control our commander for the most part. We get to put a land card from a hand into play. So playing extra lands whenever we enchantment is pretty good. Because again, that's pretty much whenever we play a creature. So that can get really good. So again, if we were playing maybe more draw on creatures or whatever, then we could have that going. That'd be really powerful. Shram, just more card draw for auras. Yeah, we've got to cast those auras, but still, Shram's not too bad. It's only a couple of mana, so. The Nessian Wanderer, getting lands from the top three cards of our deck is pretty nice to our hand. Works really well with the Composter. But still, it's alright. Lands to our hand isn't that amazing, but it is an extra draw effect, even though it's only lands. But it does filter out our lands, so can help us get real draws sometimes. Um, the Archivist from the new set. So whenever artifacts enter, we not really having an artifact center because we don't have many artifacts. I think there's only one in the deck, maybe. But whenever enchantments enter the battlefield, we can draw a card. It only happens once per turn, but still, that's okay because, again, for the most part, it'll do it itself with our commander on the field. And then when we play any other creatures, I don't think we have much flash, but if you started casting things with flash on other people's turns, then it starts really getting good. But yeah, still pretty good, I think. Calyx, I think he's okay. Helps us buff up some of our creatures whenever we play enchantments, and whenever an enchanted creature deals combat damage, we can make a token copy of it. So then we could put an enchantment on that as well. Yes, it doesn't work with legends, but still, that's okay. I don't think there's too many legends in the deck, though there are some. Queen Aniel, it kind of works like another combo to our commander, in effect, because whenever we create a token and the auras that we are creating are in fact tokens, and I looked this through, this does work. This is pretty janky. So when we get a token or an aura token on another creature, we create a soldier there off of this, and then we can put an aura on that, and then this will see that we got a token, so then we'll get another token from this, and then we can get an aura, and then we go infinite effectively. So yeah, that's pretty funny. I didn't realize this until I was looking at it and went, holy shit, there's another combo. So that's another, well, it is infinite, so we kind of just stall the game out, but effectively we have one. As long as we can find an instant to Swords to Plowshares this or something like that, yeah, we can get past that loop eventually. And the same with a lot of the other stuff. It's like, well, it does go infinite. It doesn't actually win us the game. It just basically stalls the games out forever. But then again, the thing is, yeah, you have to find ways to kind of stop them from doing that so you can actually do what you want to kill people. But then again, people might just concede to it, knowing how it works, because you can, like, stop it. If you can stop it, you just win easily. Denethor, returning our equipments and auras from the graveyard seems good, even though we don't have a lot. The ones that don't come back, we need to bring back. This new card, Archon of the Bar, I think it's actually a new card that they haven't translated properly yet. Alright, there we go, I found it. So all your stuff that has auras has base toughness, power and toughness 4 floor, and has flying. So again, we'll make all of our stuff that has auras now very evasive and very big, and that's basically all our creatures. But yeah, this thing is a flying 4/4, and it will be base flying 4/4 with an aura, but we can give it some other aura that really helps us out, so that'd be really good. So yeah, the translation there or isn't there quite yet, so but I thought I'd better go through that. But anyway, on to Spirit Dancer. When enchantment enters, we can create a token that's a copy of it, but only do it once per turn. Still okay. So we can put 2 copies of an enchantment on a creature, or we could put it on another creature. So yeah, so that can be really good. Cartouche of Solidarity. I like this because it comes with its own 1/1 creature effectively. It's the only one that I could find that kind of did this, much like Living Weapon and whatnot. So that token that it comes with is going to get an aura because it doesn't say non-token on our commander. So now we've just given it 2 auras, which is pretty decent. Not amazing, but still, I think that's pretty cool with what our commander's kind of doing. Rancor, because Rancor's really good, never goes away effectively. Blind Obedience. This one, I think I hit some money with this one because I kind of forgot that it kind of exists because I never use it because it's just one of those cards that's kind of a bit annoying sometimes. But still, it's really good, especially for this strategy that needs extra range to find win conditions. It makes our opponent's artifacts and creatures that are tapped. Yeah, sure, whatever, that's fine. That's okay. But the extort ability is what we want. Yes, we gain life from that. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? That's neither here nor there for the most part, but it's okay. The main thing there is we drain our opponent's life whenever we cast spells and pay white. So that's really good for us and will close our games for us. Tale of Ages, our enchanted creatures get +2/+2. That's pretty decent. Hallowed Haunting, as long as we've got 7 or more enchantments, our creatures have flying and vigilance. That's really good. We're going to have that a lot in this deck. And when we cast an enchantment, we also create a spirit creature with power and toughness equal to the number of spirits we control, which, yeah, sure, that's alright. And that will get an aura as well. So that can get out of hand kind of really quickly, but mainly using it to buff up our other stuff anyway, so we don't really mind if we get it. Could be a game ender, but anyway, Boon of Spirit Realm. Again, when we get enchantments, we put counters on it. Effectively, like Cathar's Crusade, it buffs all our stuff for the number of counters on it. So yeah, that's quite strong and can really help us close out games. Starfield, because again, we need ways to recur our enchantments, and this is one of the better ways to do it. And as long as we've got 5 or more enchantments, non-aura enchantments we control are creatures, so that really helps us out as well, getting through those extra creatures so that we can find ways to win. So yeah, that really helps us out. So that is the list for this one. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope you will join me again in the next one.